gonna lean in there.
So I went with the Bobby theme tonight.
Yeah.
Because after doing a little, very short bit of research, we found out that the penultimate episode of the series wraps up the myth aspect of the show, the lore,
The one we already covered was the last episode of their, I guess,
plot.
Their plot.
The big plot.
Right.
And the last episode is going to be
wrapping up their lives, I guess.
Yeah, wrapping up just the story of Sam and Dean as family, as brothers. And I know that Jim Beaver is in the last episode.
Of course.
I mean, it's on IMDb.
Yeah.
So we decided to go Bobby themed.
And I do, since we're watching last episode tomorrow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to end this with some predictions.
Okay.
I just want to point that out now.
Okay.
But yeah, so we did Weekend at Bobby's. We did And Then There Were None. And then we did Death's Door.
Yeah, so Weekend at Bobby's is, I think, a very underrated little gem. I remember it, but it's one of those episodes, like, it's kind of a forgettable episode.
Just because it's so inconsequential.
Yeah, and when you think about, like, the overall plot lines and everything like that. But the whole thing is just, well, because he had sold his soul to Crowley.
Right.
That's how he was able to walk again, as Crowley gave him his legs back, and he's on this, like, personal journey to reclaim his soul. And Crowley's like, no.
Yeah, because apparently it was built in the contract that after they ganked Lucifer, Crowley would give his soul back. So,
but Crowley is Crowley, so...
Crowley's Crowley.
Not
Bobby
so
goes to claim it, and he's like, what the contract says is, I'll do my best effort. So, I'd like to, but no.
Yeah. And you just feel for Bobby as the secondary character to Sam and Dean and, like, all of the other hunters. Like, he cannot get a moment's rest. He's constantly having to look up shit, and I mean, the plot of the episode isn't even that important, except for
the Crowley bits.
The Crowley bits, which, you know, he and that leads to him, like, actually asking for help.
Right.
Which he's no good at.
But it was really nice because the timing of the episode worked out so well insofar as, you know, he gets a call early on in the episode from Sam and Dean, and we've seen that time and time again in episodes that Bobby isn't even in, but, you know, Sam and Dean will be hunting something, they'll be like, Bobby, here's our evidence, here's what we're looking at, what do you got? Alright, well, just let me know what you find, click. And then, you know, early in the morning, the next morning, they'll get a call from Bobby, here's what you're dealing with, okay, cool. And they go fight it while they're, like, eating cheeseburgers and stuff. So you see the other side of it, where Bobby stays up till about 5:30 in the morning researching. Meanwhile, interrupted time and time again with other calls from other hunters. And he gets his answer and he calls him. He's like, here's what you're dealing with. Here's how you kill it. All right, great. Click. And he's like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It's your classic kind of like parent insight.
Yeah, right.
Everyone's the hero of their own story kind of a deal.
Yeah. And, I mean, throughout this, you've got, like, a new neighbor who's kind of making the moves on him, but then some weird shit goes down, and she's like, yeah, no. He's like, well, story of my life.
Well, he throws a monster through her wood chipper.
Well, yeah, but...
and she brought him a peach cobbler, which he keeps trying to eat, and every time he goes to cut it or sit down with it, he gets a phone call or a knock on the door.
Had early Jody Mills.
Very early Jody Mills.
Very,
Love Jody.
like, very, very young Jody Mills. Like, compare that Jody Mills to current, and it's like,
Yeah. Whoa.
what?
Wondered if it was a different actress for a minute there.
It wasn't.
It was not.
But yeah, it just kind of, the show from Bobby's perspective was really cool.
Yeah.
I think a good way to kick off tonight's episodes.
Yeah.
And then, so, at the end of the episode, they blackmail Crowley into giving Bobby his soul back.
Because
with the legs.
With the legs, because they determined that demons, even Crowley, can be destroyed. They work like ghosts, so they can be destroyed by burning the bones.
Yeah, and Sam and Dean go to Scotland.
Find Crowley's bones.
Fergus
Bones.
MacLeod. Fergus. Oh, Fergus. Oh, Rowena.
And that episode ends up leading to Rowena, so there's your long-lasting effect from the episode.
All right, so then we had, and then there were none.
Oh, and also Rufus showed up.
Yes, Rufus showed up.
It wasn't introduced in that episode, but we got some more Rufus.
He just kind of pops up like, help me bury a body.
After he's gotten no sleep that night, he's just like, okay. Because he's Bobby and he does what he's asked.
It's like having kids. Okay.
Yep.
So then there were none. It's our introduction to Eve, the mother of all, which I completely forgot about.
Don't even remember how she ends up dying. If she ends up, I have no idea.
Yeah. But creepy earworm thing.
Yeah, nice use of words. The episode was definitely a play on the thing.
Mm-hmm. And then we got reintroduced to Samuel and Gwen, which I had completely forgotten about, but they're both dead now.
As of this episode.
Oh, we need the other pack out. Yeah. And totally forgot about that whole plot line with their grandfather, Mary's dad. Sam was named after Samuel, like, just this whole thing, and he was a dick. And
it was after Sam came back from hell, and he had no soul, and so he spent a year with them, like, being a total D-bag, and not wanting to associate with Dean, and they're just going on these hunts, and whatever. It wasn't the best time in the show.
Yeah.
But it was fun because I had noticed a few episodes ago, one of the characters was played by the cigarette-smoking man from X-Files. I can't remember who it was. Leah thought it might have been old Dean. I didn't think it was. Maybe it was. But in this episode, you've got Samuel, played by Skinner from X-Files, and you've got Rufus, played by Mr. X from X-Files. So it was almost like a reunion thing, which I got a lot of enjoyment out of because I watched a lot of X-Files.
I never watched an episode, so.
Yeah.
So Joe is going full IMDb on us tonight.
I'll be playing the part of IMDb this evening.
But yeah, I mean, the big takeaway from, and then there were none, was Bobby ends up getting earwormed and fatally stabbing Rufus. So they're burying Rufus, and Bobby's talking about this thing that we never find out what happened. And it keeps coming up. Omaha, and she dies of Rufus's wife, maybe
presumably
daughter, somebody that Rufus cared about deeply, a woman that he cared about deeply, apparently ended up dying in Omaha because Bobby screwed up, didn't listen to Rufus, and he keeps trying to apologize, and Rufus is like, stop, because I'm never going to forgive you. And then he dies. So Bobby's really torn up at the graveside, and Dean is like, no, stop. You know, you can't do this. You know, we've got a short enough lifespan as it is. So just, a blanket, we're good.
Yeah.
Whenever it happens to us, we're good. And I think that was really nice insofar as our viewing. We're wrapping up the series tomorrow. I mean, it aired tonight, but we'll watch it tomorrow.
It streams tomorrow.
Yeah. So,
avoid the internet tomorrow.
So I think that was a really nice tie-in with what we're going into.
Yeah.
Just the whole, blanket, we're good.
Yeah. And the episode ends with the most tragic scene in the entire show. The pouring out of Johnny Walker Blue.
He didn't pour all of it out.
He didn't. For some reason, my memory told me he did.
Oh, no.
But still. Johnny Walker Blue is delightful. But I guess Rufus deserved it. So then we go into Death's Door. Which is the episode which follows there's a whole Leviathan plot, which I was never a big fan of. And they're getting some information. Bobby gets out of the building, jumps in the van with Sam and Dean, and the leader of the Leviathans takes some shots at the van. They drive off. Come to find out, Bobby took a bullet in the brain pan. So this episode picks up with them driving him to the hospital.
And Bobby is going through his memories, and he's got Rufus there. Eventually, he convinces Memory Rufus that this is all memories, this is all in Bobby's head, and because Rufus had a near-death experience. Well, that's really interesting, because one of the memories was when he and Rufus had gone on a job early on in Bobby's career as a hunter, and he gets knocked out by the ghost that they're hunting, and Bobby kills the ghost, but then said, okay, Rufus, now help me, and Rufus is knocked out, and he's like, ugh, of course this would be the memory where you almost died. But that ended up being a good thing.
Right.
Because he was able to get the information he needed in order to do what he needed to do. And I think, and I can't remember exactly what happens with Bobby after. I mean, I know, like, does he become a ghost? I can't remember. He does. So, the whole time it's like Bobby's motivation, I think, is to live, but at the same time his more important motivation is to get the information to Sam and Dean. Which he's able to do, but you're going through his memories, and it's, his wife, beautiful young wife. He breaks her heart because he tells her, she obviously wants kids. He tells her he doesn't, but he really does.
But he's messed up from his childhood.
Yeah, he had a very abusive father who he ended up shooting and killing. But his mom is like, still bloody from her beating from the asshole. And she's like, what have you done? And he's like, and adult Bobby in the memories, like, it's your first lesson that the people you save aren't going to be grateful.
Yeah. There's a correlation I wanted to point out. They were doing this thing when Bobby was going through his memories, when he's on the job against the ghost. At one point, the ghost reaches into his chest and grabs at his heart, and he kind of freezes up and he's in pain. And in that same moment, real world Bobby is crashing on the cart. And it got me wondering, because, you know, they say, oh, he's a fighter and stuff like that when people are in these situations. Was Dream Bobby reacting to the things that were happening to his physical body, or was his memories, what his brain was going through, affecting his body?
Can be both.
I suppose. It harkens me back to a time when I was a kid. I was dozing on the couch, and I was dreaming about a lightning storm. And I woke up and realized somebody in the room was taking pictures with a flash. And I realized the lightning in my dream was the flash of light, or it was the flash of the camera. So that would correlate to his dream being affected by what's happening to his physical body, which makes more sense. But it's just kind of an interesting thing because they say, oh, you know, he's fighting, blah, blah, blah. What does that really mean? So it was just something that occurred to me. Rufus made for a good spirit guide.
Yeah.
Another kind of a classic thing. You could see, it was subtle-ish, but Dean went through the 5 stages of grief throughout the episode, which is really, really cool to see, because it wasn't just Bobby's point of view, it was those who were affected, because, hey, that's what death is. It affects spirits and dying, it affects the people who are around him. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he went through the classic anger, denial, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Maybe not acceptance in this episode because he hadn't died yet, but
it was just such a well done episode too, because even the Reaper, it's like he starts off as a jerk, but towards about the middle of the episode to the end, he's like, you deserve rest, and you know it's coming, and you know you don't want to be a ghost. Well, you know, first time watching it, and they end it like, so what are you gonna do? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. End of episode.
yeah.
But well done.
And that's, you know, the human perception of death, right? It starts out as an enemy. You avoid it at all costs. You know, especially in your youth. But as it goes on, you come to accept it even as better than the alternative, whatever the alternative is.
You don't want to live forever.
No. No, you do not.
So, you know, Bobby dies at the end of the episode, and it's sad, and R.I.P. Bobby again.
R.I.P. Bobby.
So,
Bobby.
you said that you wanted to talk about predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if one or both of them are going to die. I think one of them is going to die, at least.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to put money on it, I'd say Dean.
Yeah.
I still haven't ruled out the possibility of Dean becoming Death.
Yeah, I my perception of it's been skewed by some of the write-ups about what the episode's going to be. I didn't actually read the article you sent me, but it's like leaves the mythology behind and just focuses on the personal relationship of Sam and Dean. I'm like, okay.
So, do you think that Jim Beaver being in this episode, you know, Bobby, do you think he's a spirit guide? The way Rufus was for him? I mean, it could be the alternate reality version of Bobby that we've seen most recently, but I kind of think that would be doing Bobby kind of dirty.
Yeah, we need real Bobby.
And I think the only way that can happen is spirit guide.
Yeah, because they don't have to go into it. I think we can assume Jack restores some kind of an order to heaven, and to reapers and, death and all of that. So, yeah. It'll probably just... he probably won't be very centric. It'll probably be like a cameo situation at the end where he just kind of welcomes one of them. Probably Dean. Could be wrong.
Or both.
How far down the line do you think we're going to pick up? Or are we going to go through stages? Because I don't think I can see them doing a made up, here's them in 20 years as old men thing.
No.
But I have to believe they have a little bit of a happily ever after where, they live for a little while after
Like
the
a
last
time
episode.
jump of some kind.
A little bit of a time jump. I'm thinking 5 years.
5 years, yeah. I think it's going to be vampires.
What? From that episode where they said this is how you die?
Yeah. Well, and IMDb has
a vampire in it. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have looked at that. That's a good point. And there was that episode. I can't even remember what it was.
It was like, I think it was actually early season 15.
Oh, really? It feels so long ago, but for reasons.
Yeah. Because it was... when they realized that Chuck was messing with them. And... was it Chuck that was showing them their future? Like, this is how it's going to end.
Chuck or Billy, I can't remember who.
Yeah, one of them. Like, you're going to end as vampires.
That's a good point. So I guess I would mean theoretically that means they keep hunting. Which I guess, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, Jack restores everything to how it was, but free will.
Yeah, and it's, they were like, Chuck will stop messing with our story now. But that doesn't quite mean that the monsters go away.
Exactly. Which, from a Catholic theological perspective, yeah, God is... he's hands-on when he's asked.
Mm.
He always answers a prayer.
Right.
Not necessarily in the way you want, but he always answers a prayer.
Usually not in the way that you think you want.
So there are always going to be monsters because... and I'm not even talking about, actual monsters, just,
Sure, monstrous people.
Criminally listed monsters.
Yeah.
Because free will. God can't force them. He can. He won't.
Although it is interesting, Chuck wiped out everything. So what did Jack restore?
Everything.
Just straight up
He has
everything.
to.
Yeah.
For there to be order. And that's not to say that our God isn't restricted by anything, but he wants free will.
Yeah. He did not imply that he was imposing a new world order kind of a deal. He was just like, boom, we're back.
And I'm hands off.
He did the un-Thanos snap. So, okay.
He's Tony Stark that shit.
He did. He did indeed.
So Jack is Tony Stark.
Okay. Well then, I guess till tomorrow. Are we going to preface it with anything?
The pilot.
The pilot.
Obvi.
Gotta go with the classic.
Obvi. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
All the time.
Love it.
Every time.
There'll probably be throwbacks. Though. Yeah. Yep. That's how we do it.
That's how we roll.
All right.
All right.